It's your girl Fee Stefan, and welcome back to another episode of Offbeat Black Girl Podcast. So excited to have you guys here, and we have some pretty good topics to talk about. I want to start off with, let's see, today is Friday, so on Tuesday it was my 36th birthday, and I have to say that it was, well, number one, I had to work. Let's start there. But it was a pretty awesome birthday. I got some good gifts from the kids and from Bay. So I really did enjoy myself. But as we get older every year, it really makes us reflect on, life, kind of where we stand, where we see ourselves going, where we are right now. And I think I did a lot of that soul searching this week where I really was like, man, I'm knocking on 40, right? And it makes me really think about the things that I've done with my life, where I'm going, where I see myself going. Not necessarily the whole like 5 year, 10 year plan, but it really makes me think about, where I am in life. And for me, it's not necessarily like a monetary thing or certain like educational accomplishments or things like that, or where it comes to where I am in the workforce. I really sit back and think where I am with my mental health and how, I've overcome a lot of things, a lot of obstacles, and where I am now at 36 versus maybe a decade ago at 26 or 2 decades ago at 16. I will say at 16, I was not in a great place mentally. I found myself in a behavioral health clinic at the age of 16 because of an attempted suicide, suffering from severe depression. And, I went through a lot of bipolar episodes as well. So, really trying to manage my emotions and become mentally stable. Even at 26, as a mom and really trying to navigate through life, I was making a lot of accomplishments as far as like I bought my first house and things like that. I was going where I wanted to go educationally. I had finished my bachelor's and was starting my master's and things like that. But mentally, I was exhausted and I was stressed and I was overwhelmed. And there were times where I really just felt like, man, I don't know how much longer I can keep going like this. So here at 36, right? I feel at peace. And for me, that's saying a lot, right? I focused a lot on helping others find that inner peace, helping others find that inner zen, really wanting to be a staple in people's lives to where they could go and really have someone they can lean on and know that I'm somebody that they can entrust and I'm always there to kind of, be there for any moment that they need so they don't feel overwhelmed or they don't feel exhausted at some point, right? But I could not be that person for myself. And I had to always put on this persona that I was somebody I wasn't, that I was this, strong, tough woman that could take on anything and, hold on to everybody else's issues and problems, including my own. And, I'm superwoman and I got it all together. And the truth of the matter is that I no, no, that wasn't the case at all. I did not have it all together. And so here at 36, I really, really have been focusing on the past couple of years on 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 Fee, right? Really trying to give all that wonderful stuff that I gave to everybody else to myself. And that's whether that's having to unfortunately cut some folks off, if that meant setting healthy boundaries for myself, saying no, which is really difficult, especially if you're somebody that's like a people pleaser that really wants everybody to be happy with you. That's difficult for you to be like, I'm not available for that. And I don't really have what you may think of as a good excuse. I just don't want to. I don't want to. I want that time for myself. I carved out this particular time for myself, and I'm going to utilize that for myself. And if you have a problem with that, I'm sorry. And then I would be like, I'm not sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I am not sorry for taking time for me. So really reflecting on my birthday, a few days ago, I was like, I'm so proud of me. I'm so stinking proud of me. Where I've come, how I've come so far with just taking the time out to know the things that I need in life and the things that I want in life, and then allowing myself to have those things, giving myself those things. And sometimes that's just setting boundaries and being able to just take that time for me. So, yes, this is an exciting episode but all of them are really, really, but because it's the week of my birthday, but also because I had a lot of time to really think about this topic, number one, and how it's really affected my life, and what I've learned and grown, and still, I still make mistakes, but what I've learned about myself over the years. And so with that being said, today's episode is focusing on the topic of fake it until you make it, right? And so we hear this concept all the time, fake it until you make it. You put on this persona, or, you just go through the motions until you're able to actually have that tangibly. And so I really wanted to talk about how that looks, as far as it pertains to mental health, to our, emotional side, how faking it to until we make it can affect us, and how it's really affected me, and how I had to learn that this could be a good thing for me depending on the situation, but it also could be a not so good thing for me depending on the situation, and really trying to find balance of when I can apply this to myself and be beneficial to me, and when I can not apply it because it's not going to be beneficial at all. All right, and so I really wanted to focus on this fake it until you make it. And so I looked up this definition, right, on Google and the internet. And the first definition I have is consciously cultivate an attitude, feeling, or perception of competence that you don't currently have by pretending you do until it becomes true. All right? Second definition, by imitating confidence, competence, and an optimistic mindset, a person can realize those qualities in their real life and achieve the results they seek. And then, if you want to look at the Urban Dictionary, because look, I use the Urban Dictionary for a lot of stuff, especially like hashtags and things like that, where I'm always like, what does that mean? Am I not keeping up with the times? I have no idea what this means, right? So, according to the Urban Dictionary, fake it until you make it is pretending to be something you are not in hopes of fitting in, joining a group, or even getting a job. So looking at all these different definitions, it's pretty easy to assume that the term fake it until you make it is literal. It means what it says. You're pretending, you're putting on this front of this attitude, this feeling, this persona, that you are something you're not until that becomes your reality. And so, emotionally speaking, I wanted to focus on how faking it until you make it can be beneficial for some people, especially if you're naturally introverted, you naturally don't seek out certain opportunities for yourself, or you shy away from opportunities for yourself and things like that, or you're like me, just consumed with so much anxiety when it comes to certain situations that it's difficult to maneuver sometimes, and so faking it until you make it can kind of be a good thing for you if you're trying to just kind of get over that hump. And then how sometimes it definitely is not the move. It's not the move. So let's start with the first part on, how sometimes it can be beneficial. And I'm just on record saying that I am not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not any of those things. I'm just a woman out here that suffers from anxiety like so many of us. And I'm just sharing some of my experiences and things that worked for me and things that didn't. And so I really want to start with how faking it till I made it kind of worked for me, okay? All right, so I will start back like at school age, right? So let's start middle school, high school, because those are like, kind of pivotal time frames in a teenager's, preteen's life. So me, middle school, high school, for anybody that went to those places with me, I was not that chick. Let's start there. I was not popular whatsoever. I didn't have a whole bunch of friends, and I didn't have a social life whatsoever. And so I was very sheltered. My mom was very religious, and so we weren't allowed to go a lot of places, number one. And then even at school, when that was kind of my time to shine, possibly, I did not shine. I, stayed to myself. I hid away. I wasn't very talkative. I was very introverted. And so I spent a lot of my time by myself. Now, people were nice to me. I wasn't teased or bullied or anything like that. They spoke, they were kind. But because of, a lot of that anxiety that I had within myself, I always second guessed everything that I did. I was not confident at all. And so, that affected me socially. I was very socially awkward. And so I stayed to myself. So, with all that being said, when I got the opportunity to join the military, I had decided in my head I was not going to be that chick. I did not want to be the one that was picked last for stuff, that was too scared to speak up, that never wanted to go anywhere, never wanted to do anything, or had so much crippling anxiety that I couldn't function if I did go somewhere. I was like, I'm not going to be that chick. I'm going to be a cool chick. I'm gonna be a fun chick. I'm gonna be the life of the party chick. And honestly, that's exactly what I did. And I used to have to hype myself up all the time to be able to do stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, some of that had to do with a little liquid courage. I won't lie. But I had decided that I was going to fake it until I made it. I was going to be this it chick no matter what. No more that shy Felicia that never spoke up, that never said anything, that was in the back of the classroom, that spent her lunch at the library because I didn't have anybody to sit with. I wasn't going to be that chick. I was going to be, this dope chick. And that is what I did. If I got invited anywhere, I was definitely going to go. I was the first one on the dance floor. I was the last one to lead the club. I was the one that always, anybody, if there was anything going on, I was going to be there. They was like, look, if nobody else want to go, I know Fee's going to go. I know she's going to go because, and so I, got this reputation as this huge extrovert, right? Where I was just always just out, I was the person you could talk to about anything. I was the person that, was always live and ready to go and ready to do and ready to be, even though that was not genuinely who I was, because it took so much energy to be this version of me. Trust me, it took so much time to build this person. So before I got ready to go anywhere, I would have panic attacks. I'm telling y'all, over my hair, over, what I was gonna wear, how was I gonna look, and what I was gonna say, and how my voice was gonna sound, and was I gonna fit in with all these chicks? And I can't really dance, but if they got a strobe light, I might be all right, but really just going through it, trying to be this person that I really wasn't, but that I really, really, really wanted to be. And I look back on all those girls that I went to, high school with, and, for that little bit of time that I was in high school, because remember I said that I spent a good chunk of my high school career in a behavioral health clinic for women in Charleston, South Carolina. And so my senior year, I went to stay with my dad, side note. And so my senior year, I felt like a freshman because I was at a brand new high school with kids I didn't know. And so therefore, I didn't feel like a senior. I didn't really earn this rank. I just happened to, be old enough and educated enough and get all my credits to do my senior year, but I was still alone. I was very much alone in this time frame. So again, I would look back on the girls that I went to high school with, and I envied them. I envied those girls that got all the guys to talk to them, and just everybody loved them and they always fit in. I envied that. I wanted to be that person. I was the person, even as an adult, there were times I was the person that was in the group where they were having a conversation, but nobody was actually talking to me. Nobody actually addressed me. I was just kind of standing there with my drink, just like, just looking around and taking little sips and, laughing, even though nobody was making a joke with me, but that was funny. I was that girl. And even when there were conversations that were interesting to me or conversations that I was knowledgeable about, I was afraid to interject and add my little 2 cents. Even if I felt like it would be, beneficial to the conversation, like I just wouldn't. So I was like, I cannot be this person anymore. This is just this crushing weight of being me sucked. And I just did not want to do that anymore. So, I would say that it worked for me. And this is why I'm saying it worked for me, right? Is because there's so many opportunities that I took part in that I don't feel like I would have had I not become this person or created this persona of myself. It's almost like Beyonce's Sasha Fierce, like you want to be this different version of you, this person that, has just able to just do whatever, and all those reservations that you have within yourself and all those insecurities you have within yourself, you just throw them away, and I could just be this version of Fee for whatever period of time, and it works. I remember one time where we were in New Mexico, and it was cold it was cold, and now I'm born and raised in South Carolina, so everything's cold to me. Let's start there. Everything is cold to me, but in this particular instance, we're in New Mexico. It was freezing cold, and we were at a hotel, and there was like this very thin layer of ice, maybe like sheet paper, maybe it just started kind of freezing over, and everybody was like, I'll bet you $5 to jump in this pool. I bet you $10, but you $20. So we're all in this group, Everybody's going back and forth like, I'll do it for this much, I'll do it for this much. And I literally just took off running right in the middle of the group and jumped fully clothed into the pool. And it was so freaking cold. It was so cold. But after that, everybody else jumped into it. And I remember them being like, you're so crazy, like afterwards, and I think we dried off and got pizza, whatever, and they were just like, I just love having you around, you're so much fun, this and that. And I remember that being like the highlight of like my year, because number one, I conquered my fear of just being included. I think part of me was just afraid to be a part of the group, because what if they didn't like me? What if they didn't like what I wore? I like how I talk. I like my thought processes. Or what if I just didn't fit in? So a lot of my anxiety came from the possibility of being included, which sounds crazy because I wanted to be, but I was scared to be. So yeah, that doesn't make sense, but it was me. It was my life. It was my reality. So yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. I traveled places I would have never traveled. I had experienced things and tried food and went to concerts, and I did so much stuff that I was normally afraid to do as me, that I was just such an introvert and had so much debilitating anxiety that I just would just shut down and not participate in things. And even now, I get invited to things and I'm like, I don't know, but then I make myself do it anyway, and I end up having like the best time ever, and I was turned up, and it was just so much fun. And I feel like that idea of faking it till I make it, and in this particular situation or in these particular situations, faking confidence, until I gained the confidence, um, paid off because I had some of the best times just letting go and just being in that moment and not letting my anxiety get the better of me. So that is where I would say it works. Now, where I would say it doesn't work, where I tried to use this concept because it was so successful on this side, on another side, and it was detrimental, was in situations where my mental or physical health were in jeopardy, right? So that is where faking it till you make it is just pointless. It is dangerous for you. And I would say in situations where you feel unsafe, or where I felt unsafe, and that's whether I'm out having a good time and then, someone says, hey, I'll give you a ride home, or, you just follow me over here, or, I got something to drink in my car, situations like that where I'm like, oh, I normally wouldn't do it, but, let me just fake that confident. No, girl. No, this is a situation where you are not safe. You don't need to leave with this person alone. You don't need to, do any of these things, So there were times where I was in environments where I wasn't safe, and I had this mentality that I'm just gonna fake my way through it. No, no. And I've done that a lot with men, unfortunately, where I've been in uncomfortable situations, whether that's just being out and about, whether that's, in environments where there was intimacy or sex involved, or anything like that, where I definitely did not want to be there. I did not want to participate in whatever it was. But I told myself that I could just get through it if I just faked my way through it. That didn't do anything but cause more insecurities within myself, which lessened my self-worth, demeaning myself in certain situations. So that was not it. No. No, that was not it. And I will say that I did a lot of faking it until I make it in my marriage, with my ex-husband, who was, extremely abusive. And a lot of that faking was with everybody else. Obviously we live in this house, we see what's going on. We know what's going on, right? I'm not gonna fake it, with this person who's, physically abusive to me, mentally abusive to me. He knows what he did. So, but a lot of that faking it came to, external persons, where I would fake it with my friends, fake it with my family, even with my children, who are living in this house as well. But I'm always like, oh, everything's fine, it's fine. Um, um, Grown-ups argue sometimes. That's normal. You're not always going to agree with people, which is true. But not to the degree where you're being physical. No, absolutely not. Where I would fake it on social media. I post all these great pictures where we're just smiling and we're so happy and everything's great and we're on vacation and we bought a house and we did this and we did that, and just faking it like everything is amazing, and in my mind telling myself that it will eventually be that way. And I'm faking it until I make it to this point where I'm no longer this sad. I'm no longer this depressed. I'm no longer in this situation because he's going to change, or I'm going to change something about him, or maybe if I just fix these things within myself, he'll be different. This faking it till you make it almost was like me trying to fake it to myself. I'm trying to convince myself that it's something that it's not. Or and I'm trying to convince myself that it's a better situation than it is. I'm telling everyone else that, oh, I know you probably heard the neighbor say this. That lady's crazy. we're perfectly fine. Oh no, yeah, this is nothing. The other day I'm girl, I'm clumsy. Or, oh no, I mean, I was gonna go out with you, but girl, I just couldn't find anything to wear, and just, my hair was looking crazy. So, and not the fact that I had so many bruises that I just could not cover up everyone, you know, constantly trying to fake happiness in my marriage, and all it was truly affecting my mental health, my physical health, my emotional health, and the stability of my mind. And not only that, but it was traumatizing to my children. It damaged relationships that I had with family and friends, because I'm at this point, I'm not putting on this persona, to hopefully come to some optimistic reality. I'm not trying to fake confidence or anything here so I can, you know, get through this concert. What I'm doing now, I'm damaging relationships because I am just an outright liar. And honestly, who am I protecting here? Who am I protecting? Am I making things better for me? I'm making things better for this person that is causing me all this stress and this harm. I'm faking it for this person, not for me. And these other situations where I was really trying to be somebody else. I was trying to fake this confidence and this self-esteem that I didn't have to benefit me, to put me in situations where I could, take advantage of the opportunity, maybe go out for the job interview, maybe actually do something that I really want to do that I just don't have the confidence to try it or do it. That was for Felicia. That was for me. But in this particular situation where I'm just faking happiness in my marriage and lying to my friends and family and shoot my children, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for this person. I'm doing this for him. I'm doing this to protect his identity, to, protect his reputation. But how is this beneficial to me? How is this helping me? So, I think when it comes to faking it till you make it, you really got to think about how doing this is going to benefit you. How taking on this persona or faking this confidence or faking this competence or whatever it is, how is that going to benefit you? Is that going to give you the galls to go after something you really want? Maybe go after that relationship, go after that job, go after that opportunity, this travel opportunity or whatever it is. If this is going to benefit you, then grab them horns and go for it, right? But if this is going to benefit someone else, is it worth it? If this is going to be detrimental to your mental, physical, emotional, intellectual health, is that beneficial? Is that worth it? Is that worth the possible damage you can do to yourself? And so ultimately, all I did in this latter situation is just really plummet my self-worth, plummet what I really thought about myself, raise my insecurities, because at this point I already had these insecurities before I came into a relationship about whether I'm good enough, whether I'm all these things. And so all these things, it was just doubling it up. Instead of me having the courage to just leave the situation, what I should have done is created this persona of a woman that was strong enough to say, deuces, I don't deserve this. And instead I became this shell of myself. And a lot of times I already felt like I was a shell. So yeah, I don't know how you can be a shell of a shell, but this is where I was in life, and it wasn't conducive to my health. It wasn't beneficial at all. And I would say that would be the difference in whether you wanted to use this concept or not. Is it really beneficial for you? That would be the question that I would ask. And that's the question I constantly have to ask myself when I decide that I'm going to do it and that I'm going to go for it. And there are times where I still use this concept, where I need to go to my boss and be like, look, I've been working here for however long. I'd like a raise. You know how terrifying that is to go ask my boss for a raise? To go ask a supervisor for something that I deserve and that I've earned and that I work hard for? How dare I ask for my compensation to equal my performance? How dare I? But that's terrifying to me, and my anxiety just makes that like so much worse. Like, oh my God, what if she yells at me? What if she fires me? What if, whatever? I am a grown woman. I should not be scared of another grown woman. But this is my reality. So sometimes that fake it until I make it, I'm going there with confidence, like, hey, I know what I do. I know I'm an asset. I know what I offer. Pay me. Right? So sometimes that works. But again, if it's something that's not going to be beneficial to you, something that is going to cause you some type of, detriment, I wouldn't use that concept. I wouldn't. I don't I don't see how it would help, because I think at some point it would just be delusional to fake it until you make it when you know that it's only hurting you. It's not helping you. It's a liability. It's not an asset. It's not something that you can hold on to that's working for you. It's working against you. So that's something to really think about. It's something that I'm still working on, like, every day, as far as like just being a better version of me, being a better version of Fee, and figuring out what works for me and what doesn't. So, if you have any situations where you feel like, faking it until you make it works for you, it works for your benefit, share that. Feel free to share that with me. Or if you had a situation where it was just downright not it. It was not it. It was trash. It was garbage. Feel free to share that with me too. I would love to hear you guys' opinions on, what you think of this concept. I know we've grown up with it. We've heard it. How have you used it, and what has it done for you? And again, feel free to reach me at offbeatblackgirl@gmail.com. So that is going to end this week's episode. Thank you guys for tuning in with me. I love having you. And I'll see you next Friday.